Bigoted, attention-seeking clout chaser Nancy Mace just got crocketed. We're going to make it a thing. Look, there are two things that are most certain in the Oversight Committee. It is becoming very clear that Republicans will act like bigoted, attention-seeking clout chasers like Nancy Mace, but also they are so afraid of what Jasmine Crockett might say and do to make it go viral that they try to jump ahead and then they end up stepping on themselves and crocketing themselves. And this is what took place yesterday in the House Oversight Committee when they were debating an amendment that had been put forward by Representative Jasmine Crockett, the Democrat from Texas. And it turned into just abject chaos and pandemonium at the hands of Nancy Mace. And I'm going to go through this. There are three particular moments in this long, expansive section of time because there was a 4-minute and 20-second delay while they decided if the threat of physical violence that was put forth by Nancy Mace to Jasmine Crockett would be stricken from the record. Spoiler alert, it was not. But first, let's start with Jasmine Crockett trying to explain to America through her virality that is potentially there at all times that Nancy Mace is just trying to fill her campaign coffers by saying trans, 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 and attacking one of the most marginalized groups in our country at this moment, at which point she used the turn of phrase, listen, child, and as kind of a segue into what she was going to say, and Nancy Mace lost her mind. I'm not a child, I'm not a child. We can take it outside, she said. Remarkable. And then actually what takes place after this is really more telling and more important than that. But let's start with that because that's what happened first chronologically.
So don't come over here with your attitude and talk to me about rights when you're trying to take my rights as a woman, a rape survivor, away. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Any member seek recognition? Ms. Stansbury.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the gentlelady across the aisle demonstrating why we need civil rights. We need civil rights to protect all people, especially trans Americans who are under attack right now. I would like to yield the rest of my time to the gentlelady who is carrying the amendment.
I don't even know how we got there because I tried to make it clear how many civil rights, it doesn't just boil down to one conversation, but I can see that somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, trans, trans so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not
call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I am 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
Order,
am
please.
reclaiming my
Let's go.
time.
You will not do that. I
Order.
am not a child.
I am
not a
reclaiming
child.
my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not
Okay.
in order.
Order.
Take it outside? Jasmine Crockett would probably break your arm if you just shook hands. Nancy Mace is the type who acts like she's such a badass, such a trailblazer. She threatened to throw fists if she came into contact with the newly sworn-in Congresswoman from Delaware, the first openly trans person to hold that office. And some activist went to her and shook her hand to express upon her to support trans children in foster care, and she crumpled and reported them to the police saying that her arm was broken or some horrific injury because of a handshake. She's no badass, but that is indeed a threat of violence. We all have the commonality of language, and we understand exactly what that means. So right when that moment happened, Maxwell Frost, a congressman from Florida, young, Gen Z, I believe the first Gen Z congressman, he pipes in, he says, listen, point of order here. Are we allowed to make threats of violence? Puts a ruling to the chair. The chair, of course, is the bootlicking sycophant, James Comer. And this is how that worked out.
Point of order. Point of order.
Order. Chair recognizes Ms. Crockett.
No, point of order, Mr. Chairman.
State your point.
Is it allowed in the rules for a member to incite violence against another member? I mean, she said she wants to take it outside with.
Hey, I have the First Amendment right too,
And
young
so
man. I have the
I'd like
First
those
Amendment
words
right.
to be
I'm not
taken
gonna be a
down.
child.
I
I'm
am
not gonna
moving
be
to have
called a
those
child
words
by
taken
any
down.
of you.
I believe it's against the rules to
Going
incite
outside doesn't
violence
incite
against
violence.
another
You can have a
member of
conversation
Congress.
that isn't.
The committee will
interrupting this
suspend,
committee.
the member will state the words he wishes taken down.
Where she said that we can take it outside, which is direct violation against the rules, inciting violence against another member.
What rule? What rule? Cite the rule.
How does that incite violence?
Mr. Chairman, there are, if I might point out, Mr. Chairman, there are decorum rules in the House of Representatives.
And the two parliamentarians are discussing this right now. We'll suspend for a second.
Did you hear Nancy Mace do the thing she just freaked out about with Jasmine Crockett? She did that same thing to the young Maxwell Frost, calling him young man. I'm not a child, and then wants to take the elder role with Maxwell Frost. Hypocrisy, it just never ends. So I paused it there because for 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they deliberated with the parliamentarian and I guess they have a parliamentarian on both the Democrat and the Republican side. And they came back with a ruling for him. He went with this particular ruling, which is, no. That's not violence. It could mean let's go out and have a beer or have a cup of coffee. Because, you know, if I'm having a terse interaction with someone and I say, you know what, we can take this outside, everybody knows that my adversary and I are going to go out and have a beer. Watch how this went down.
All right. The chair's going to make a rule. What the gentlelady said was, we can take this outside if you want. And
Okay, so
that could mean you could go outside and have a cup of coffee or perhaps a beer, or, you know, I mean, we have
seriously,
Mr.
lots of
Chairman.
conversations outside. So I'm going to rule that that it was, just
that it's okay.
that it's okay.
All right, and then point of inquiry.
And remember, this is a slippery slope you're going down, because we have
Oh, you're
disagreements
going
in
down
this
the
committee,
slippery
as you
slope.
know.
So just to be clear, in this committee, we can ask, we can
Apparently.
threaten violence on someone as long as
no,
at the
that's
end-
not-
excuse me.
I did
long
not
as at
threaten
the end-
violence.
Excuse
I
me,
threatened no
excuse me.
violence.
There was
I
no
threatened no
There
violence.
was no violence.
long
no
as
violence.
at the
Don't
end.
create a
I
false
threatened
narrative.
no
question,
violence.
that
No,
was
no
none.
other
You're
person.
making shit up as
It's
you
good
go
to know.
along. You
Good
might
to
want to
know.
figure this one out.
Order. There was
Mr.
no
I thought you were
Chairman.
cursing today.
No violence.
Mr. Chairman,
No violence.
Cowardice. Absolute cowardice. So now they're setting the precedent that this type of language, and by the way, this is the least of it. She was hurling anti-LGBTQ slurs throughout her entire screed, Nancy Mace was. And they didn't stop that. She's cursing while behind the microphone, behind the dais in a congressional committee, cursing constantly. There is no decorum related to Republicans. Thankfully, there are people like Maxwell Frost, like Jasmine Crockett, to Crockett them, because it's going to be a long 4 year or 2 years. This Congress is 2 years. It's going to be a long 2 years before the midterms, and hopefully the American people wake up in these disparate districts represented by the people who work on this committee and do the right thing and jettison these assholes from power. Stop electing stupid people. I would love your opinion. I welcome you to this conversation. You can call and leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. You can also just comment below. All that serves the algorithm to put this content in front of new subscribers. I would appreciate it very much. Speaking of subscribers, I'm within 8,000 of 900,000 subscribers right now. What a number. Unbelievable. It marks me among the luckiest people in the world. I very much appreciate your support. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.